Alright, so, reaction trailer here for Star Wars Rogue One. Never done one of these things before, so let's just do it now and see how I react.
State your name for the record.
Jen Arslan.
Forgery of imperial documents, possession of stolen property, aggravated assault, resisting arrest.
On your own from the age of 15. Reckless, aggressive, and undisciplined. This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel. We have a mission for you. A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know what it is and how to destroy it.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Where do people get their accents from in this universe?
What will you do when they catch you? What will you do if they break you? If you continue to fight? What will you become?
I like that, the use of both theme tunes. Alright. So I guess that's a trailer. That's how I react to it. It looks pretty cool. It looks a bit darker than regular Star Wars. I like the fact that we're going back to the to explore the universe. And one thing about the sort of Star Wars universe is there's still so much to explore about that time period, about the original series time period, as it were. Still a lot we can see about the universe there, because unlike the prequels, they were a lot more sort of very focused on a specific set of characters and events, like caught up in this much larger event, really. So that's I think the idea of it's going to be quite interesting. It's a good trailer, I guess. I don't quite have hyped the same way the Star Wars 7 trailer did. I think that's a good thing, because there's no need to hype it the same way. There's no need to get the nostalgia flowing in quite the same way. This is kind of like, something new, something interesting. I think it's going to be interesting. I haven't seen Gareth Edwards last. I did meet him once, actually, at an event once for Rain Dance Film Festival or something like that. I can't remember which one it was, but he seemed pretty cool. And he's I haven't seen his Godzilla, but I saw some of his previous movies, and he's a decent enough director. I think it'll be a cool movie. I'm excited about the fact that this isn't going to focus on the Jedi for once, which is very interesting. Is the fact that we don't have any focus on like the idea of the Jedi or the Sith. This is this is about the Star Wars, which is I think what's interesting really about the first movies is that they don't really focus so much on the Force. The Force is just it's kind of the side story. It is Luke's story has something to do with the Force, but Han's story has nothing to do with it. And to a certain extent, they go back to that a little bit in Episode 7 in Force Awakens, but really, it still focuses a lot on Rey and her journey with the Force, and even the guy without the Force uses it. And the main villain is really Force focused and talks about the Force a lot. And that's what Star Wars is about. At the end of the day, about Force users and the Skywalker family and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks pretty cool. It's weird seeing people use hand-to-hand combat against guys in what I assume are space armor. That's sort of a bit odd. Yeah, I mean, I hope we get to see some of the interesting things. Like, I hope we get to see Darth Vader again, for example. Which I think is rumored that he's going to be appearing. And I think almost if you don't go back to that era, if you go back to if you're going back to the era, you kind of have to do Darth Vader, and if you're not doing Darth Vader, you're missing out on a huge opportunity to show a character who is still the best Star Wars villain. Like, he's still the best, like, presence, best look. He was like an evil space samurai, basically. Is the way the helmets go back and everything. It was like to get to use James Earl Jones's voice again. I mean, they've been doing a great job with that in Star Wars Rebels, from what I understand. I've seen a couple of clips of that. I haven't seen any of the series yet. I need to catch up with that. But I think it's going to be a good movie. Decent director behind it. Disney have done a very good job so far with Marvel and making sure each movie is at the very least decent. I mean, even though I may not be a fan of like Iron Man 2, 3, and I wasn't overly impressed with the original Thor, though Disney had nothing to do with that. It was still Marvel was producing. Disney kind of produced it through Marvel or through Lucasfilm in this case. So as long as they keep a sort of like tight rein on what they want, and they're not trying to deviate too much from their overall plan, I think like this could be good, and I think that Episode 8 itself will be pretty good. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because this has none of the recognizable characters from the original series, aside from like Mon Mothma who's appearing in it, and I don't know how Admiral Akbar will appear in it, but like, you know, they were like small characters who were relegated to the expanded universe, which I never really read any of, so the majority of people on the planet did not read much of. Like, so it's an interesting look at the Star Wars universe, see how things play out, see what this universe is like beyond the fantastic, if you know what I mean. It's like Star Wars has always been sci-fi fantasy. In fact, it's a fantasy movie. It's a fantasy movie with sci-fi elements, really, with a sci-fi setting, basically. Rather, it's a fantasy movie with a sci-fi setting. So that's what makes it more just like an action adventure thing. And this seems like, you know, there's always going to be a darker side to the story. And that's what like for example with when I first watched Man of Steel, I hated the movie because of what it did to the Superman character. But I like the actual plot of it, for example, because I don't mind doing a darker Superman movie or a dark Batman movie. It's the way you use the characters and the way and because it doesn't involve any of the original characters, it doesn't involve Luke going around like massacring people or something like that. It's I think you've got this like darker side of Star Wars that could be really interesting, and we'll see how it plays out. I think this could be the first of some interesting spin-off stories, and I like that this is going to be, for the most part, not tied to anything else. It could probably reveal some stuff that we need to know, like these like almost like the flashback stories. Almost as if they had made the prequels. If you watch it in that, it's called the Machete Order, I think it's called, which is when you watch 4, 5, 2, 3, 6, and you forget one ever existed, because that's a very good idea, even if it has Liam Neeson in it. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they do these spin-off stories that aren't really directly connected to the ongoing story set in the future. Like, these are Star Wars prequels, and that's never been a good sign when people say that. But it's like, you know, it's not. They're not. And the thing is, even that time period of the universe of Star Wars is not a bad thing. I think that these Star Wars stories, because they're individual and closed, they don't have to follow the Skywalker family. They don't have to follow the story that's being told right now. They can be told at any point in the Star Wars history. They can go back to the Old Republic era. They can be the Boba Fett story. They could do almost anything, and I think that's what this story is really going to be interesting, because it's telling a part of the Star Wars lore that hasn't been told, and gives us an expansion on the universe. Something Star Wars always has had this enormous universe that it's never been able to really expand upon. That's where I think, for me, to something like Star Trek has always had a really good grasp of its universe, because it's never been about the movies. It's been about the series. The movies were individual sort of like episodes, and some were great, some were awful. But like the series, in a TV series, you've got 20, 22, 24 episodes a season, telling a really huge story, a really like enormous like plot, and it like you have like filler episodes. Although they were filler, they would expand the universe just a little bit more, and you would get to see things like the Dominion and all the different like sort of bits and pieces in there, and it really would expand the universe. And that's something I think these side stories can do, is go out and explore a little bit more of that universe that is so rich and so vibrant. Even without the expanded universe stuff, it still allows people to go out and expand like the to go and explore how they got the plans for the Death Star, how where Luke was during that time period. You might even get some of that story in one of these spin-offs. I mean, we all know after these 6 movies, after the 3 sequel trilogy movies and the 3 Star Wars story movies, we know that Disney is going to continue to make. Why would they not? They're going to make so much damn money. It's rather like their Marvel Universe. I'm sure after Infinity War, it's still going to continue. I might get some new actors on board, because like the old ones I'm sure will be pretty fucking fed up at that point. But, you know, I think that these 3 Star Wars stories, along with Rebels and anything else they do, will have a nice chance to expand on the universe. And I think that's going to be pretty interesting. And that's a lot of that is in this trailer, just by the teaser as it is, as it currently exists. There's not much else to say really about it. Is that it shows a bunch of clips, introduces one of the characters. I like as female lead again. It's good, and anyone who complains about that, I'm going to slap the shit out of you. But you know, I think it's going to be interesting. I think it should be fun. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, thanks for watching.